Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian with J-Line, helping others achieve greatness in every part of life. Today, we're talking about the 3 most important things that you need to talk about in life. And I'm going to use this as an illustration. All right, the 3 most important things to talk about in life. Are you ready for this? What we're going to do is we're going to do a countdown from number 3 to number 2 to number 1. So the third thing we should talk about, the second most important thing we should talk about, and yes, the number 1 thing we should talk about. All right, number 3 on our list is money. You have to be able to talk about money. And it's funny because people say, oh, you shouldn't talk about money. I think a lot of times people don't like to talk about money because they might be embarrassed about what they do about their money. They might want people to think they're better off with their money than they really are. Or maybe they just don't want to get into it because it will expose their financial intelligence. But we're basically talking about people that have been told that money is not something you should be talking about. Before we go any further on the top 3 important things that we need to talk about in life, I think it's important to know this. Too many people in life are trying to teach us what to believe instead of teach us how to believe. And I know many people get passionate about money and they hold their money with tight hands. And I think that's why most people say, I don't want to talk about money because I know you want some of mine. Yes, of course, there's people that want to talk about money because they want some of yours or they're trying to sell you something. But I'm not talking about that. We're talking about your financial intelligence and what you do with your money. Do you even know how much money you make? You might say, yeah, I know how much money I make because it's on my paycheck. There's a lot more to it than that. Here's the 3 questions that you should ask and answer for yourself. Number 1 is, how did you get it? This is where we want to understand, how did you get what you have? The second question is this, how much did you get? We have to be clear, and people are watching to discover how much we really have. And the third thing that everybody's wondering and that you need to find out is, what are you going to do with it? Everybody's wondering, what are you going to do with it? Brian, I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about. How did you get it? How much do you have? And what are you going to do with it? Are we still talking about money? Weren't you going to do a coin illustration? Yes, when we're talking about money, because it is one of the most important things to talk about in life, we need to ask ourselves and answer the question, how did you get it? I want to encourage you to sum this up in one sentence. Hey, this is what I do. Boom, tell them. This is your job, your business, your career, your opportunity, whatever it is, sum it up in one sentence. When it comes to your money, how did you get it? All right, the next thing is simple. How much do you have? It's interesting to me to discover how many people don't even know how much money they really have. They do look at that bottom line of that paycheck of the money that comes in, but there's so much more to it than that. We're talking about the total compensation, not just the pay, but the benefits. Some people have access to a percentage off of their phone bill. Some people have access to a gym membership. There's so much perks and benefits that we need to take advantage of. Basically, when it comes to your finances, what are you going to do with it? What do you do with it? If you're saving, what are you saving it for? Tell somebody. What about giving? If you give, what do you give it to? Tell somebody. One thing that we all have to understand is money is a tool that creates opportunities, and money is a tool that creates possibilities. And even if you have a lack of it, be open and honest and say, you know what? I need help with budgeting my finances. So when it comes to money, how do you get it? How much do you have? And what are you going to do with it? All right, you guys ready to talk about this thing? So as I said before, many people want to teach us what to believe instead of how to believe. What they want us to do is have us choose one side of this coin. Pick a side, pick a side. But how many know there are 3 sides to every coin? So we have this side of the coin, we have this side of the coin, and yes, the third side of the coin is right here. This allows me, when I pick this side, to be able to see both sides of the coin. And I think that's the key. And what a good time to segue to the second most important thing that there is to talk about in life. Money? I thought we already talked about that. The coin is the illustration, so stay with me here. All right, the number 2 most important thing to talk about in life is politics. Yes, I said it, politics. Too many people pronounce it like polartics, like polarized. Never mind, that was a bad joke. Why would I want to use this when I'm talking about politics? Because when I think of politics, I think of politics. Now, how many know these 3 things, even though you don't know what the number 1 thing is yet, have to do with 90+% of our life? And if we don't talk about these things, we're keeping people out of 90% of our life. Let's see, what do I have to say about politics? There's a principle I live by in life, and it is pretty much this: respect and honor those that are in authority. I honor the position and the person sometimes. No, all the time, come on. Now, when it comes to this, I think a lot of people want to get people on our side. We want to convince people to believe the way we believe so that we're all believing the same thing. And if you don't, I want to convince you of my conviction because I have superior knowledge and wisdom that I want to share with you so that you can choose what I choose and be the way I am. Well, really, deep inside, I think this is a desire that we all have for community. This is common unity. Unfortunately, many of us push our convictions and try to convince others on our convictions, even if they don't have the same convictions. And it's awesome that people are passionate, but there is one thing I want to say about this. Okay, two things I want to say about this. There is a principle that where your treasure is, there your heart will be. And a lot of people say, I'm not going to give my money to that. I don't believe in that. But the reality is, if you begin to give your money to that, your heart will follow. And so many people, they are bought in and they have their money, they have their thoughts, they have their dreams, they have their opinions locked and loaded. And they chose a side so much that they don't want to even look at the other side or even get here so they could see both sides. So what do? They throw it away. And when you do that, even your point or your side is worthless. So don't throw away the big picture. Don't throw away the whole coin. Be able to see both sides. So now for the countdown. Number 3 was money. It's important to talk about money. Number 2, it's important to talk about politics. Come on, somebody. And the number 1 most important thing to talk about, drum roll please. I guess there's no drum roll special effects. The number 1 thing to talk about is religion. Religion is basically our belief system. I always find it ironic, and I try not to laugh, like not in a disrespectful way, but when people say, hey, I'm not religious, but, and then they tell you what they believe. What you believe is your religion. Basically what you're saying is, I'm not religious, but I'm religious. Everybody has a religion. Everybody has a belief system. They put their hope, their love, their trust, their dreams into something. Now, my religion happens to be relationship. Relationship with who? I got another video on that. You could watch that some other time. But let me say this. The 2 most important days in our life is the day that we were born and the day that we find out why we were born. Oftentimes, when it comes to politics or religion, in my experience, people that preach and teach tolerance are often the most intolerant people I know. Why? Because they say, you got to pick this side and you got to pick this side. You got to pick this side. Yes, and even in this space, people want to teach you what to believe instead of teach you how to believe. And when it comes to religion, there's basically a couple types out there. There's those that say, well, I don't believe in a God, there is no creator. And what they're choosing to do, whether they acknowledge it or not, because maybe they don't even realize it, but they're choosing to put themselves in that place of God. So they're their own God. I get it. For those of you that would say, I don't believe in a God, I would let you know that he believes in you. No, Brian, I'm serious. I don't believe in God. Well, do you think he knows that you don't believe in him? Oh, yeah, he knows I don't believe in him. Okay. I don't want to dive in too deep here, but I do want to say there is what is called polytheists and monotheists. Either there's a lot of gods or there's one God. I think a lot of people are in that lot of gods phase, but there is a God above all gods, a king above all kings, and a Lord above all lords. Come on, somebody. All right, so here we go again. When it comes to religion, are you able to see all sides of the coin? Are you able to pick this side where you could see all of it so that you can choose for yourself? I am of the opinion that when you have and mix all these different religions, you're really just watering down the power that you can have if you chose one. And if you're going to choose one, why not choose the one that is listed above them all? But I will say this, don't let your past experiences and other people dictate how you're going to live and how you're going to believe and how you're going to love, whether you're loving yourself or others, because you can become the best version of yourself if you give it 100%. And those are top 3 things we should be talking about in life. So hey, if you want to talk about it, comment below. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, the J-Line Network, so you can stay up to date on all things to keep your life great. Hope this helps.